Hey guys, I want to talk to you about doing cutouts. You see that this sports layout has a cutout on it, and so we need to know how to do that. Um, if we haven't already practiced it, here's what you need to know. One, we have a cutout on the left-hand page, so this image is actually not facing the right way at all. This image should be facing either forward toward us, looking directly at us, or toward the center of the book, as you should know by now. So we're going to have to find one that faces the right direction. So let's just say I've gone through my list here and I've found a picture that I want to use. It's facing the right way. It's a full body. You can't cut their legs off or have half a body there, so that won't do us any good. So we need a full body that's facing the right way, and it's preferably a high quality image. Now the image I've picked is this one. It's actually not a great choice because if we look closely, you'll see, well, like it doesn't work that way apparently. If you look closely, you'll see it's blurry, and we'll see that again in Photoshop. But we're just going to use this one for example purposes. Try to find a better quality one yourself. I'll click on Details to get it, and I'll hit Download Image, and that will download the image into Photoshop or into your computer. In which case you'll need to then open it in Photoshop. This is it in Photoshop. And the bottom line is basically we're going to erase everything except him. You could just get an eraser tool by pressing the letter E and start erasing. You'll see that if you do that, however, you're left with a white background, which is no better than having nothing erased. Better yet, what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on the layer palette over here and duplicate this background layer and say OK, so that we have two versions. Always a better idea not to work on the original but work on a copy. And we're going to hide, this part is important, the background layer. I'll not do that for a second, and then I will get my brush and make it bigger by pressing the right bracket key, and I will start erasing. And I'll erase and I'll erase and I'll erase, and you'll say to yourself, well, nothing's erasing. The truth of the matter is it is erasing, but because I haven't hidden this background layer, I can't see that it's erasing because they're a duplicate of each other, right? All right, so we want to get this background layer duplicated and hide the background layer so we can see what we're doing. We'll also see that I've used an edge that kind of brush rather that has sort of a feathered edge, which is why it kind of fades away instead of it completely goes away. If you need to change that, you can do that by clicking there and clicking on that button, and now you will see it erases everything that it touches. Effectively, that's all we're going to do is erase everything around it. You can do it the way you see me doing it right here, and then just kind of get up real close and erase this stuff. Or we can go back and this is the history palette, by the way. I can go all the way back up to 20, 25 steps, something like that if I want to. And I will go back to here. All right, so I've got two layers. And everything's good to go. This is the way I teach my kids in intro to do cutouts. It's not necessarily the right way or the perfect way, but it works for us. But it's exactly what I've said before, which is we're going to erase around the perimeter of the person, and then we're going to get rid of everything else. I'm going to do it quickly and not very precisely, although I will expect you to be precise. You'll press the letter E to get the eraser tool. That eraser is way too big, so I'm going to hit the left-hand bracket tool and drop that eraser down to anything above. Go away. This is not illegal software. This is the school district software. I don't know what's going on, but ignore that. Anything above a 9 would probably be about as low as you want to go. And then I'm going to zoom in with the zoom tool. I can press the letter Z to get zoom. So E erase and Z to zoom. E erase. And I'm just going to erase around the perimeter. Now a trick is if you erase once and then hold down the shift key, it'll erase everything in between in a straight line from where you last erased. Again, I'll go back and I'll go backwards. And I'll make that go away. And so I'm just going to erase right there on the corner and go to and just basically keep my finger on the shift key unless I have to take it off for some reason. And I'm going to erase around the perimeter of this person. Straight lines. As long as you have a straight line, you're good to erase all the way to the where that straight line ends. And again, this is obviously not a great choice of pictures because of the blurriness and the graininess of it. But you can kind of get the idea of what I'm doing. I'm just holding down the shift key and going to the next straight point and pressing or clicking the button. Looks like I can be straight all the way down to there, straight all the way down to here, and keep going around. Sometimes I might make the eraser smaller to kind of get in places like that. So I'm going to go back out, and then I'm just going to quickly pretend that we've erased all the way around this person to get to the next step. Okay, but take your time, do a great job of erasing, because when you get to this next point, you will want to get the magic wand tool by pressing W, wand for W, and changing this tolerance to 255, which means that it will select all the colors. You also want to make sure contiguous is checked so that basically what we've created is a space where there's no color, and we're going to try to select all the color out here, leaving the color inside of it alone. We press that, and if we did it right, you will see that these little marching ants, which you may or may not be able to see very well, are marching just on the outside and not on the inside, which means we've erased all the way around completely without any breaks. If you use something other than a solid edge brush, like we looked at before, if you have one of those feathered edge brushes, that can screw you up. If you go too small a brush, that's going to screw you up. Command 0 to zoom back out. And so we've done a good job here. However, I'll go back a step, and let's say my erasure went to, and I somehow forgot to do that part right there. You see, obviously I missed a spot right there. And then I get my magic wand with it at 255 and making sure contiguous is checked. And I click here, you will now see, obviously, that I have the little marching ants on the inside and the outside, which means that if I hit delete, it'll erase everything. So again, I have to find out where I made the mistake. Oops, I forgot to do the top of his helmet. So erase, hold down the shift key, keep going around, do a better job than this. And now I've erased all the way around. I'll try it again. Magic wand W. Zoom back out, command 0. Press the magic wand. Zoom it in just to do a quick check. I see now that they're just on the inside, which is good. Command 0. Press delete. And if I've done a good job of erasing him, I'll have him alone on its own layer. I still have the other one, remember? So if I screwed something up, I could always go back to the original. Now I've got a page where, a photo that is a bunch of blank space and then this one person in it. Well, I don't need all of that. And it also has an area that's currently selected. You can see right there because when we did that earlier. Command 0 to zoom back out. Why is it not working? There we go. So I want to press Command D to deselect. And then we'll get this tool right here, the marquee tool. And I'm just going to go just about the width and height of the thing that I cut out. If I screw up on the left side and need a little extra space, I'll just go there and then go inside of it and move it over. And now I have everything selected with a little extra space around the person. And I will go to Image and choose Crop so that I don't have a big giant image, I just have the cutout itself. And then we're going to go File, and we're going to do a Save As a TIFF file, T-I-F-F, which is right here. So you go under, once you open this, you'll have to give it a name and a place to save it. But more importantly, you want to go to TIFF or PNG, but I think Justin prefers TIFFs. You can take off layers because you don't need layers, but that's not really important. I'm saving it to my downloads. I don't want it there. I'll save it onto my desktop. By the way, if you get something that looks like this, if you click that button, it'll go down. So I can see everything. Now I can go to my desktop. I'm going to save it there as a TIFF file, and nothing else is important. I'll give it the name cutout. and hit save. This is important, however. Notice this part right here, save transparency. You want to make sure that that is checked, or else that blank space, this checkerboard area, will not save, and you'll have a white background, which will do you no good. So make sure that's checked and hit OK. And then that image will show up somewhere on my desktop right here, and then I can upload that into the image library and save it onto my page, just like what we saw with this cutout right here. All right, so now point out that if you had saved that as a big giant file with all that extra space, it would be really hard to, it would just screw up. So just make sure you crop it down. Otherwise you have a big giant space to deal with, and that's always a pain. Alright, so that's as quick as I could make an overview of cutting out an image for use on a page.